Today's episode of The Read Pile is brought to you by Audible.com. Get a free audiobook download and a 30-day free trial at www.audibletrial.com/nerdupmedia. Over 150,000 titles to choose from for your iPhone, Android, Kindle, or MP3 player.
I'm Elle, and I'm a cat.
And I am the surf man, Rick Surfman, and you are watching The Read Pile. It was good! Oh, it's still recording.
It's the week of October 29th, and here are some comic book news you can use.
Okay. We're a couple of days late on it because all of it dropped in the last week.
Yeah.
So Marvel released every movie ever this week in a event known as the Marvel event. Good for them. Kind of like counteracting DC's release of every DC movie ever.
Whatever.
If I may quote friend of the show and your, I guess, personal, I don't know, power animal, Gail Simone.
Okay.
So is anyone else a little concerned that we now have like 2 billion comic book movies about to come out?
I almost don't care anymore. I just... whatever.
It does seem like a lot for the last couple of weeks, right? Like, it sounds all well and good, but...
It's like pumpkin spice season.
So instead of pumpkin spice season, it's now comic movie season?
I used to love pumpkin spice.
That's a really good
and
analogy.
now I think you can get pumpkin spice tampons.
That's horrendous. Okay, so if I may extrapolate, what you're saying is, years ago you could get like one pumpkin spice latte, and it was the most amazing thing you ever had.
It was something I used to look forward to. I'd go and yes, I would go to Starbucks and I'd say yes, I'm gonna stand in line for my $5 coffee because 'tis the season for pumpkin spice latte. It was a treat, and now everything has pumpkin spice in it. Everything. And comic books are getting that way. It's getting to the point where the characters are soon going to feel diluted.
Well, on the one hand, I mean, they do sound like they're going to be really cool movies. Like Doctor Strange.
They always end up awesome.
Well, Doctor Strange may or may not have Benedict Cumberbatch. That's still unconfirmed clickbaiters. But, you know, Captain America Civil War, it looks like the Marvel and Sony thing, where Spider-Man's probably going to be appearing in Sony movies. That's moving along a little bit. But I know it's not Marvel or DC's fault, because DC released that and then Marvel had this event planned anyway. Yeah. But it does feel like, hey guys, that's a lot of stuff, huh? So, are you excited about it?
I'm excited because I want to see the movies, yes, but I don't really want to see the timeline. I don't really care about that timeline, because here's the thing. We've seen a timeline before, and it was different last time. So, what's stopping you from changing that?
Fair enough.
I don't care about the dates. Just tell me when they're coming out.
Well, see, that's what they're there for. They tell you when they're coming out.
Those are not the actual dates. I can tell you.
Wait a minute. I was going to cut the segment short, but now I'll just mention it. Marvel has hit all of their dates. The only date that I know that changed was DC. DC moved Batman v Superman: Dawn of Infinite Justice back a year, and then they moved it ahead because Marvel said Captain America 3 is coming out on that same day. And now that I think about it, had it stayed the same, Captain America 3, which is Civil War, would have dropped on the exact same day as Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. Spooky. I don't know why that's spooky, but that's weird. I got a comic book for you to read.
Really?
Yeah. You're going to review it. You ready?
Okay.
Do some reviews.
Okay. Time for some comic book reviews. And I'm going to start with an interesting one. I did not know what to expect at all. The Sussman decided to toss it onto my read pile this week. I didn't even know it existed. I didn't even know that it was coming. But he decided I needed to check it out. He said it was awesome. I said, sure, I don't know. But I don't want to say for once. But yes, he was right. It was good. And I gotta deal with the ego. Rasputin. The first issue wasn't exploding with activity, but it definitely caught your attention. You got this guy, and I am ignoring all of history and background of the actual man. We're just talking the comic right now. If you're just concentrating on this, you're already captured though. You have this kid that has this power to bring things back to life, and you have his father is haunting him, and his closest friends are going to be murdering him. But when? How? Why? And it just opens so many doors to mysteries. You want to know. You travel through and you see his life and you see these events and you want to know what has made him into this person and why would somebody want to hurt him. And once again, you gotta ignore what you've heard in history. Just don't think about the man that you know. Read the book. You want to know. So I'm definitely gonna follow up. I'm gonna read the next issue. And of course, I know we're gonna hear from the Sus Man. In the meantime, let's talk about my book some more. So, Wonder Woman. I don't want new writers. I really don't. It was an awesome run. It was so beautiful. It made me cry at times. So this whole storyline, Wonder Woman, the God of War, she's dealing with the firstborn, the lastborn, Zeus is gone. She's got to deal with this, I'm gonna call her Barskank, Zola. You're dealing with all of these things going on. It's so much, so amazing, and it just tears you apart inside to see the things that have been going on in this whole storyline. And we're finally getting to the point where we have resolution with everything. I feel like, though, at the very end, I felt let down a little bit. The outcome of everything was absolutely amazing. I just felt like it was shoved into the last 2 pages a little too much. It was just, like I wanted this issue to be twice as long for some reason. I felt like I really, really wanted that. And maybe I felt that way because I don't want it to end. I think that's what it is. I did not want it to end. It was such an amazing storyline, and I fear that I'm going to be highly disappointed with any other writer. In the end, bravo. It was, I would have to say, it is the best storyline that I have read of Wonder Woman in a very, very long time. Absolutely amazing. If you have not, you need to start picking up trades when they start getting binded and just power through them because it is wonderful.
The name you're looking for is Brian Azzarello.
I never remember names, I'm sorry. Yes, it was amazing, but my pick of the week, how could it not be? Harley Quinn. Yes. Oh yes. It is the Rub and Smell issue. Check that out. Pretty cool. I loved it. Gotta say, the smells were a little weird, but you know you can't get them dead on. It was pretty cool. It was interesting to be able to read through, be able to just rub the page, get the smell. Fun stuff. But the story alone was absolutely fantastic. Just the idea that this whole series, constantly you're having all these little inside jokes about comic book nerds, about the DC universe, just superheroes in general. They are making fun of it, but in a nerd way. They're not just making fun of them. They are making fun of it only a nerd, a comic book nerd, is going to get, is going to understand and appreciate. Because you gotta laugh at it. You gotta sit back once in a while and not take it too seriously and just say, you know what, that really was ridiculous. That really is pretty funny. Yeah, you'd probably be really upset if somebody outside the nerd world made the same joke, but pretty funny. And the relationship between Harley and Ivy, getting a little interesting. I'm not against it, all for it, but definitely making you wonder. I'm okay with it though, and I think it could probably make some pretty good, interesting, like pretty good stories. But it was definitely a lighthearted. It was a light read. It was fun, and we found out a lot of fun stuff about Harley Quinn in this issue. But if you really want to see what's going on, Rick's got a pretty heavy load this week. And
Yuck, 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 yuck.
yeah, I guess we gotta listen to him now.
Well, want to give a wicked cool. Do they say wicked cool? Is surfing lingo wicked cool? You lived in California, Elle. What do they say in surf lingo? They say wicked cool? Elle? I can see you. You can't ignore... Whatever. Thank you, Elle, for those reviews and for leaving me to hang 10 by my neck, evidently. First thing I want to do is mention Oops Comic Adventure, another local book, similar to last week's book, not featuring Jackson Leviathan, who is now following us on Twitter. Thank you, Jackson. Very cool that a comic book character is now following us on the Twitterverse. I like that. This is by Cindy Foster and Jeremy Hobbs. Mr. Hobbs, of course, was one of the guys behind last week's What If book that I started our reviews with. This Oops is more of a... I'll give you a second shot of that. Boop. More of a like a old-time, like whimsical magic. Think Bone, but with a little bit of like D&D thrown in. And you've got a pretty good idea of what you can expect from Oops. It's very lighthearted, very fun, very well drawn and inked, and you can find it at local comic shops here in Orlando. They will be at an event at our local comic shop on, I believe, December 27th, and we'll be promoting that as it gets closer, because these folks are awesome to let us borrow their books and review them, and even give them to us in the case of the What If, which was awesome. So, thank you, Cindy, thank you, Jeremy, we appreciate it. Now, on to my read pile, which was a substantial one. And Buster just took a substantial poop. Thank you, Buster. Always contributing. Let's begin with a couple of books that I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on. Justice League United, Annual number 1, Sex number 17. So boom and boom. Why am I not spending a whole lot of time on them this week? They were placeholder issues. Annuals, by and large, are never that great as far as I'm concerned. Very few and far between will you ever find an annual that's really good, which is why I was excited to hear that Elle really liked the Harley Quinn. I guess that's not even an annual. I guess it's a special, but whatever. I've never really been that big a fan of annuals, just because they tend to be kind of lame. But Justice League United wasn't lame. It was another fine issue. It was neither good nor bad. It was just fine. There was nothing I could say about it that I could tell you, oh, it really blew my skirt up. No, it was a comic book. I read it and I enjoyed it. Nothing wrong with it. Sex, we're just moving the storyline along. Not a whole lot to mention outside of that. It was just another fine issue. Again, no major complaints. Makes for poor reviews when there's no complaints, nor is there like no major blowing my skirt up moments. But as Elle began with Wonder Woman, essentially after Rasputin, which was awesome, she doesn't know what she's missing. I am going to begin with Thunderbolts number 32, as predicted by the Sussman, me. The Punisher vs. Thunderbolts storyline was apparently leading to the end of the book, and I was right. That's it. Book's over. Done. Goes out. We're finished. It was fine. It was a good ending. Not every ending to every story ever is going to make you go, wow! I mean, even Y the Last Man is considered to have a really poor ending, but sometimes the ending isn't that important. It's always the journey. It's never the end. And this was at least an ending. And so few comics have a terminal point. You're just supposed to keep reading ad infinitum, And I hate that. So I'm actually glad that the Thunderbolts ended. I liked the ending. I thought Acker and Blacker did a very good job with it. It was a good final issue. It served its purpose. Next on the agenda, though, is Uber number 19. We love Karen Gillan. We love Uber. We love a lot of things. This is another issue where it's focusing more again on the Allies and how they're recovering from the discovery of the spy and how we're moving forward with the story. If you're not reading Uber by now, you need to be reading Uber. I'll tell you why. You have to like World War II, you have to like historical drama, and you have to like really creepy, gruesome, horrific sequences. Oh man, there's some really nasty stuff in there. And I gotta be honest, it was awesome. Moving right along, though, to what would have been my pick of the week if my pick of the week didn't drop this week. Wayward number 3 by Mr. Jim Zub. Let's see, Dylan, Ranch Company. There's a lot of guys on this book who are very, very, very good folks as far as I'm concerned because they talk to me on Twitter, and I love interacting with the writers and artists who are available on Twitter. It makes me love their books even more. But it's actually a really fun story. The concept of the American manga continues in Wayward number 3. I greatly enjoyed watching Rory as she continues to try and figure out what she's doing. She appears to be very Captain America-esque in a number of ways because she is not the leader that she thinks she is. She's better than that. And she's actually putting a weird group of super teens together. So it's like she's Cyclops, I guess, because they're all teenage mutants. If they were ninjas and turtles, it would be even more funny. But, very good book. If you're not reading Wayward, I really, really recommend it. Nothing could be better, though, than Saga 24. Pick of the week, Saga 24. Of course it's my pick of the week. What do I say about Saga? Other than, are you lady folk? The book is so good. It's a book about aliens, and it's written better. It's written more human than books. Oh, man. Oh, what do I gotta tell you to read Saga? What do I gotta do to get you to read Saga? I mean, I got Elle to read the first 6 issues, and she thought it was okay. If Elle thinks a book is okay, then you probably will love it. And now I gotta go. Oh, what? What, now you're mad? Now you're mad. I gotta go. I gotta go somewhere else. For you, our loyal followers of The Read Pile, we have an awesome offer from Audible.com. Audible is offering a free audiobook download with a free 30-day trial to give you the opportunity to check out their awesome service. You can download some really great books like The Hobbit, the unabridged version from Tolkien. You can download Divergent, Lean In, lots of great stuff to check out. To download your free audiobook today, go to audibletrial.com/nerdupmedia. Again, that's audibletrial.com/nerdupmedia for your free audiobook.
That's the read pile for this week. Rick, who do we think?
We have a lot of people to thank. First, I want to get to the Illuminati. They hooked us up with a bunch of pages for their new comic 617, which I haven't gotten around to reading yet, gentlemen, but I shall. And I very much thank you for the shout-outs on Twitter. I also want to thank Mr. Jim Zub, as I mentioned during my reviews. He is a very funny individual on the Twitters. I want to thank again Jeremy Hobbs and Cindy Foster. Check it out, Oops Comic Adventure. You can go to www.oopscomicadventure.com. It's all written right there. It's nice. And check out all their cool stuff. Finally, and perhaps most importantly, as we all know, I am the mayor of NXT. Full Sail University even said so. As the mayor of NXT, sometimes you are given gifts. Gifts of awesome. Mr. Simon Gotch was kind enough to provide me with this print. The artist's name, who I will not butcher, he is on Twitter though, his name is Ryan, he's amazing. I'm going to tweet at him as soon as we upload this so he can see that his work was signed by Mr. Gotch. And there's a note here, I will read the note to you, to Rick, and he made sure to include the K. He was unsure if it was a C or a K. You know the only other person to sign an autograph to Rick like that?
Yeah.
That was Kevin Smith. To Rick, the best comic book guy outside of The Simpsons, Simon Gotch. I'm going to get this framed. It is going to go over my little spot that I review comics, so that Simon can watch me review comics forever. Mr. Gotch, I thank you. You got somebody to thank?
I got no friends.
You ain't got no cats.
I got lots of cats.
You gonna grab that cat?
Yeah.
Alright guys, she's gotta grab a cat. It's time to go. Hold up a comic to your right side. And one to your left.
Oh, I slapped in the face by a purring cat.
Well, we've got our outro.
Ow.
Well, we've got our outro.